Welcome to the... right now across the entire enterprise landscape, it feels like everyone is just rushing to buy AI. There's this massive fear of missing out at the executive level. But the reality? Very few organizations actually know how to deploy it safely without causing some major disruptions. So today, we're going to dive into how enterprise IT and HR leaders can actually implement and manage AI without falling for all the hype. We are looking directly at the architectural realities of deploying SAP SuccessFactors AI in 2026, managing microservices, and handling those inevitable lifecycle changes of cloud software.
Okay, let's just kick things off with a massive reality check directly from our source blueprint. Turning on AI in SuccessFactors is not a single magical flip of a switch. It's really not something you just activate in the admin center over the weekend and then expect miracles by Monday morning. I mean, think about what happens when leaders treat AI like just another standard software patch. It almost always ends in absolute chaos, broken workflows, and completely confused employees. Deploying this is a highly integrated, multi-layered transition that touches literally every single part of your organization.
Now here is a number that should absolutely rewire how you approach this whole deployment: 40%. According to the SAP implementation blueprint, AI success is actually 40% change management. Let that sink in for a second. Technology only makes up 25% of the equation, with data readiness and organizational alignment making up the rest. So what exactly is that 40%? Well, it's comprehensive employee training, it's rewriting outdated HR policies, it's actively getting ahead of your workforce's fear of automation and job displacement. Seriously, if you're only focusing on the tech, you are already behind before you even begin. To help us navigate all this, here's our agenda. We'll hit the AI reality check, walk through the 8-phase blueprint, check out powering personalized user experiences, dive into entity recognition and life cycles, and wrap it all up with the governance imperative. Let's move right into our first section, the AI reality check, strategy over technology, to see how SAP's AI strategy is fundamentally put together. To grasp this easily, our blueprint breaks SuccessFactors AI into 3 really clear layers. Layer A is Joule. Think of Joule as your 24/7 HR concierge. Basically a conversational copilot that helps your employees navigate policies and get tasks done just using natural language. Next up is Layer B, Embedded AI. This is the invisible intelligence working in the background, doing the heavy lifting like parsing resumes or recommending learning courses without the user even having to ask. And finally, Layer C is Joule Studio, which is a low-code visual builder for creating your own custom extensions. You absolutely have to understand the boundaries of these 3 distinct layers to plan your licensing and adoption the right way. Seeing those layers brings us right to the #1 mistake organizations make, the technology-first trap. This is when an IT team buys a shiny new tool, turns on features like Joule or the Talent Intelligence Hub, and kind of just hopes employees figure it out on their own. The result? A complete ghost town, zero adoption. Instead, you need an outcome-focused framework. You have to define what the AI is actually solving before you configure a single thing. Are you trying to reduce time to hire by 15%? Are you looking to cut internal IT support tickets in half? If you tie the technology directly to persona-based KPIs, your adoption is going to naturally follow. So how do we actually roll this out safely? That brings us to Section 2, the 8-phase blueprint, a practical roadmap. Our source gives us a really rigorous 8-phase implementation roadmap, but we can logically condense that into 4 core steps to make it simple. Step 1 is assessing your data readiness and building your technical foundation. Step 2 is running a safe pilot. And why restrict this pilot to a tightly controlled group of just 100 to 500 users? Because this is exactly where you actively hunt for bugs, check for weird outputs, and gather critical feedback before things go wide. Step 3 is the activation of specific features based on that feedback. And Step 4 is scaling and operating, but remember, scaling only happens when your pilot metrics definitively prove that your guardrails are actually holding up. Listen, the absolute most crucial point in that foundation step is getting your role-based permissions, or RBP, perfectly dialed in. RBP is the actual bottleneck that controls what your AI can access, and Joule strictly respects those boundaries. Just imagine the total disaster if an entry-level employee innocently asks Joule for a colleague's salary, and because your permissions were configured too loosely, the AI actually gives it to them. Yikes, right? But on the flip side, if your permissions are way too strict, Joule can't return helpful data, and adoption completely fails. You've got to thread this needle perfectly. Now that we've got our macro framework set up, let's zoom in on a specific payload. Welcome to Section 3, Powering Personalized User Experiences. We're looking at the personalized recommendation microservice here. To understand how powerful this really is, imagine the daily journey of Sarah, a marketing manager at your company.
The next item model suggests a highly relevant leadership course based on the specific onboarding article she happens to be reading right now. Similar item helps her discover alternative resources she probably wouldn't have found otherwise. And when she goes looking for info, Smart Search knows she prefers video tutorials over massive PDF manuals, so it personalizes her search results based on her history. Finally, User Affinity tailors her entire dashboard based on her intrinsic career preferences. This is exactly how embedded AI transforms a boring, static corporate portal into a highly engaging environment that actually drives internal mobility.
But hey, what happens when these specific tools age? That brings us to Section 4, Entity Recognition and Life Cycles, and the reality of software deprecation.
Traditionally, IT teams have relied heavily on machine learning tools like business entity recognition. If you aren't familiar with this, picture thousands of messy incoming vendor emails or just uniquely formatted PDF invoices flooding into a company every single day. This tool was literally the magic that extracted the actual usable data from all that unstructured noise. It allowed businesses to automate those recurring, tedious tasks instantly.
But wait, I want to execute a quick record scratch here. If we look closely at the documentation, there is a massive caution warning. This specific business entity recognition service, it is being removed from the list of eligible cloud services and deprecated by March 31st, 2025. Imagine the sudden disruption this causes for an IT team. They now have to scramble to migrate all those perfectly fine-tuned automated workflows over to an entirely different service called document information extraction before that deadline hits. And this is exactly why you literally cannot just set and forget AI. Modern enterprise architecture requires nonstop monitoring of cloud lifecycles. AI is incredibly dynamic, right? Unlike traditional software that gets a static, predictable update maybe once a year, cloud AI models are constantly shifting underneath your feet. The models you rely on today might be absorbed, updated, or completely retired tomorrow. You absolutely must have dedicated, agile personnel whose sole job is to watch for these deprecations and adapt your internal workflows when these services inevitably evolve. Which leads us perfectly into our final section, the governance imperative. How do we keep our AI online, safe, and compliant?
Look, if you want to prevent your AI initiatives from being instantly paused by legal and leadership in 2026, you absolutely must establish a responsible AI framework featuring exact, non-negotiable guardrails. For example, you have to keep a human in the loop for any talent-impacting decisions. Why? Because you never want an AI autonomously firing someone or automatically screening out job candidates based on hidden criteria. AI suggests, but a human manager decides. You also need comprehensive audit trails of what the AI was asked and what it spat out. You need strict data minimization, quarterly audits to verify outcomes, and really clear legal escalation protocols.
Without a lightweight AI center of excellence to enforce these rules, you are basically inviting total failure. Connect the dots on what we've talked about today. Without governance, you don't just get bad software. Your skills governance breaks down, leaving you with a messy, unusable job architecture. You run the huge risk of massive security leaks from poorly configured role-based permissions exposing sensitive data. And you might face sudden massive budget overages from consuming unplanned premium AI units. Trust me, that will have the CFO knocking on your door immediately.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one critical question. You now have the blueprint, you know how to map the microservices, and we've established that the technology, which is only 25% of the battle, is just a flip of a switch away. But is your organization actually ready for the other 75%? Are you actually ready to govern the AI you turn on tomorrow? Think really carefully about your change management and your data readiness. Thanks for learning with me today, and I will catch you in the next explainer.